it's troubling to people who are in the Beltway here in DC and are worried about the party because we've always kind of been a two-party system. You know, that's just the way it has turned out for American democracy. So we'll see. I mean, does it work? Um, I've never seen a party in my lifetime wrangle with its health like it is right now.
Zelensky says America's $60 billion aid package could save thousands of lives in his country. The US House of Representatives finally approved a package to pay for arms to fight the Russians on Saturday, 6 months after they began debating it. Caitlin Doornbos is the Washington reporter at the New York Post and told us this had been a political marathon.
It's happened finally. It was a long way, right? It took 6 months. President Biden put this forward 6 months ago in October. And now it's gone through several iterations, but finally we have it passed by the House. It's now going to go to the Senate on Tuesday, but that should be a really easy way through because the Senate has already um, passed a similar measure. House put a couple of little tweaks on it. Now it will be on Biden's desk on Tuesday, and it will be, I'm sure there will be aid in Ukrainian hands by the end of the week.
And why? Because there's a relatively strong Republican opposition to this. Is it the connection with Israel? Because there's been funding to Israel at the same time as funding to Ukraine in this measure. Is that the thing that's got it over the line? What's changed?
Gosh, and my analysis of this has even changed since seeing the breakdown in voting. It came out yesterday. The votes came out. 112 Republicans had voted down the Ukraine aid package. So I should back up. It had been one big package, right, all together. Um, Pieces for Israel, Ukraine, China, other aspects there. What they had to do to get this passed was break it into four different bills and have everybody vote on each individual bill for aid. 112 Republicans voted against it. That was higher than I would have estimated. So I was actually surprised, and I think having everybody kind of put their name to the vote, as far as you are voting for something, you can't say that you're voting for another thing for by casting that. I think that's a wake up call to see where the sentiment is, even in the United States. That said, it still passed with the majority, and it was a small glimpse of bipartisanship that we just don't see anymore.
Yeah, and will this cost the speaker's job? Because Mike Johnson, he was very against this stuff, wasn't he? I mean, Mike Johnson was not pro-Ukrainian aid. Now he's been the person credited with getting this through. Is that
Yeah,
is that good for him? That a sign of, as you say, bipartisan statesmanship, or is it a sign that there'll be people waiting to kick him in the shins as soon as he leaves the building?
he said something interesting before putting the vote up on Friday. He said that if he was worried about one person tanking his entire speakership, he wouldn't be able to get anything done. And while it's true under this rule in the House that um, it only takes one member to put forward a petition to get the speaker out of the House to put it up for a vote, um, I think the Republicans were so frazzled over the last way they handled that with the last Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. Took more than 2 weeks to get a speaker elected. And during that time, they can't get anything done. I hope and I think that they have learned their lesson, but the future's unclear. And we'll see.
And I guess the question is, and this is an important question for Ukraine, because this has taken 6 months, and to a certain extent, 6 months is a massive problem for them, and they're struggling with the war, and the delay has not helped this. Is that what's the political reaction to this? Because there are some Republicans and there are some people on the right, led by the Post as well, saying we've got to support these people. We have to help the Ukrainians. But there's a big group of people who say no, 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 possibly led by Donald Trump. Stop wasting American money on foreign soil, and presumably we're going to see some reaction to this, and that's from the Republican side, and that's going to be crucial for the election and for a potential presidency.
Yes. You're really seeing this fracture, right, within the Republican Party. It's Donald Trump's influence and those who are purist, following whatever Donald Trump wants, and people who are Republicans who support Donald Trump. That's the breakdown that you're really seeing happening in this party this year. And it's troubling to people who are in the Beltway here in DC and are worried about the party because we've always kind of been a two-party system. You know, that's just the way it has turned out for American democracy. So we'll see. I mean, does it work? I've never seen a party in my lifetime wrangle with itself like it is right now.
And will moderate Republicans just hold their nose and vote Trump? That's presumably the question, isn't it? That you might have a person who doesn't necessarily stand for all your values in terms of his own behaviour, in terms of his views on certain things where he tries to appease the evangelicals, things like Ukraine, foreign policy. The question is, does that all amount to so much Republicans can't vote for him? Or actually will they say, you know what, we're Republicans, he's a Republican candidate, we'd vote for whoever?
There are so many ways this year could turn out because I talk to some Republicans, and yes, absolutely, it's like I would rather not it be Trump, but better Trump than Biden. But there are a lot of different issues on the ballot this year, abortion being one of them, foreign policy being other issues. Israel has brought in new criticism to Biden's leadership as well. So there's a lot of factors at play right there. I think that there will be more nose holding, if you will, and voting for Donald Trump than there will be Republicans voting for Biden. But I still think Biden stands a strong chance.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, it's one of those policies here that points to the fractures you're talking about. Caitlin, really interesting as ever. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That was Caitlin Doornbos, the Washington reporter at the New York Post.